Then I want to get on this Joel Embiid thing. I heard a clip from Doug Gottlieb. I'm gonna play what Doug Gottlieb said about Kendrick Perkins and how he changed the MVP trajectory and all that stuff, man. I'm gonna give you my commentary on it. I think it's kind of funny, man, but I'm gonna play what Doug said.
But that's where we are. It's like nobody wants to come out and say the truth because they're worried about social media crushing them. So I will. When Kendrick Perkins made it about race, the race for MVP changed dramatically. Because there are enough people that get scared of, like, I don't want to be called a racist. I know I'm not a racist. I don't want to be called a racist. I mean, they'll look further into it. And you can make an argument about Embiid. That's fine. It's absolutely fine. You're completely allowed to. But you can't tell me that that's not at least suddenly in the back of people's minds. There was this stat, and it's from a guy named Wade, right? And he's a content creator, whatever, but I saw this other places. At its_Wade, Joel Embiid is the first player since Kobe in 2008 to win the MVP award despite not leading the league in at least one of these categories: PER, BPM, WS-48, that's per 48 minutes, win shares, and OBPM. Jokic led the league in all five. Okay. Jokic led the league in all five categories for 3 consecutive seasons.
So it's funny, the content creator that he was referencing, Wade, his tweets pop up on my feed a lot, and I actually responded to that tweet. And it was funny because he did say, "Hey, look, Joel Embiid," and the dude is from Denver, so he's a Denver Nugget through and through. He loves Jokic, he's a homer, right? So, it is what it is with that, right? But he said Embiid is the only guy since Kobe in 2008 that won the MVP that didn't lead in all these advanced analytics. Not just simple stacks. When you go to these advanced analytics, he's saying Joel Embiid didn't lead. He's the only MVP since Kobe that didn't lead in all these things. He's talking about win shares per 48. He's talking about PER and all this. Like, who the heck? Like, seriously. What we grew up playing basketball and, being kids, high school, whatever. Just think about this. We went out there and hoop. I can look at a guy and tell how good he is versus how good this guy is. And I don't need a PER. Like, seriously, think about this, man. Like, what the heck is PER? What are the advanced analytics and advanced stats, PER, win shares, and win shares per 48? What is all that doing in the MVP discussion, right? So I'm gonna tell you why Joel don't lead in all those things, right? Because all those things are meaningless. Like, you have to play a certain style of offense to even get those stats. And mind you, all those stats are just offensive stats, right? So when did we ever not take defense into the accountability when we're talking about these serious awards? So my reply to him was, Jokic is the only person to win MVP that didn't lead, or who wasn't at least top 10 in scoring, and who played zero defense since Steve Nash, right? So if you can say, Joel Embiid is the only MVP to do this since Kobe, then Jokic is the only MVP that has done this since Steve Nash. And that's real important because I think when advanced analytics and advanced stats really came into the picture and the nerds started taking over these award votes and stuff like that, and the conversations and the debates, people really started hanging their hat and putting a lot of weight into these metrics, which that really don't make sense. I mean, basketball is about winning and losing, right? And how you win is you score more points than the other team. And how you score more points than the other team is by actually scoring and preventing them from scoring. So right then and there, just quite simply, the most important things to basketball is me stopping you and me scoring on you. Like, if you take 100 shots and I stop 99 of them and you make one, that's 2 points. Now all I got to do is figure out how to get 3 points or 4 points. That's how simple basketball is. I had to score more than my opponent. I had to score more than my man. I had to score more than my team, the other team. So Can you score and can you stop your man from scoring? And that makes you a full basketball player. That makes you 100% basketball player. It's two ends of the court. 50% is offense, 50% is defense. And right now, Jokic is only playing at a high level on the offensive end. He's scoring and assisting. And on the defensive end, he's playing at a below average level. So Joel Embiid is playing at a high level on both ends of the floor. He's 100% player, not 75, not 50, right? Just by those metrics alone, you don't even have to go to the advanced stats. You don't have to go to PER and win shares and all this stuff. You don't have to look that deep. You get what I'm saying? Once you start looking that deep at simplistic things, you get yourself in trouble, right? If I sit here and I'm looking at you and I know you're someone I'm familiar with, and I see you steal my wallet, right? And walk out of here. There's no need for me to do a fingerprint test on the wallet. Why am I going that deep? Why am I doing DNA testing and fingerprint testing? And then, okay, well, do you got the film? No, I saw you, right? It's just like court of law. You got an eyewitness. That's very strong. Megan Thee Stallion sat on the stand and said, yes, Tory Lanez, that is the man that shot me. None of that other DNA stuff even mattered because I can point you out. Anytime you do harm to a person and that person is alive to get on the stand and point you out, that is the most powerful thing that a jury can take. So keep it as simple as possible unless you have to go deeper, right? You don't automatically start looking at advanced stats. Like if Jokic and Embiid were the exact same player on the surface and they both play offense and defense and their teams had the same amount of wins and they averaged the same amount of points, rebounds, and assists, if all that was even, then maybe you can start going deeper and looking into win shares and PER and all that stuff. But it's not necessary when I can just basically look and see he plays elite defense and he scores at an elite level. He led the league in scoring this year. Number one. Led him in scoring last year as well. And then he's an elite defender, top 5 shot block at the rim, who also can guard the perimeter if he switch. That's how good he is. So if I'm looking at a guy who's elite offense, elite defense, and I'm looking at another guy who's elite offense and doesn't offer anything on defense, there's zero chance that I'm going to start looking at the PERs just so I can find something that Jokic is better at, so I can make it justifiable to give him an award. Does that make sense? Last thing I'm gonna say about this. They just changed the name of the award, right? This is the Michael Jordan. The MVP is the Michael Jordan trophy now. They just changed it, right? Michael Jordan is now the face and the name of the MVP trophy. From here on out, I mean, it was only right that someone like Embiid, who plays elite defense and scores on an elite level, wins this first award. Michael Jordan won his MVPs by he's got 10 scoring titles. He got the scoring title every time he won the MVP. And every time he won the MVP, he also was first team all defense. One time he won the MVP, who was actually the defensive player of the year and steals champion and scores champion. Right? So let all that sink in. Not PER, not win shares, not win shares per 48, none of that goofy mess. He played elite defense and he was the best scorer in the league, right? That's exactly what Embiid did this year and he embodied. And for here on out, now that the name of the trophy is Michael Jeffrey Jordan, the GOAT, no one from here on out should win MVP that doesn't play defense on an elite level.